Thursday, Flosstube. Hello, crafty friends. How's everybody doing today? My name is Caroline. Welcome back, Daily Crafty Chat. I am recording here today in London, Ontario, Canada. And to all of my American crafting friends, a very warm, happy Thanksgiving wish to each and every one of you. I hope you're having a nice day. So, oh my goodness, yesterday was so fun. I had so many great comments on yesterday's video, so just a couple of things to touch upon before I show you what I've been working on over the last couple of days. I have my whips here ready to share, but just a couple of things to chat about first. So first of all, my beautiful yarn that I received from Carrie. This is from Stitchcraft and Wizardry. It's either Stitchcraft and Wizardry or Stitchcraft Elf Wizardry. I should look that up because I don't see a website. So Carrie, if you see this, maybe you can let me know whether I can point people in their direction, because this yarn, it just feels, it's gorgeous. Beautiful yarn. So I was a little stumped by the 85% SW EF Merino. I should have known that the SW was superwash. That's a rookie mistake. I should have known that one. But the EF, I never would have gotten that. And a few people wrote in and said that it stands for extra fine, which makes sense because it is a sock yarn. It is a fine fingering weight yarn. So it's always very interesting to me how things are called something just slightly different or quite a bit different in other countries, because I know in the UK they don't call it sock yarn, they call it 4-ply. 4-ply? Yeah, 4-ply is the thin yarn that you would use, and we call it either fingering weight or sock yarn. So I'm assuming that it's common in Australia to call it extra fine. So 85% superwash, extra fine merino, 15% nylon. And it's absolutely beautiful stuff. So Carrie, again, thank you. Thank you for that beautiful gift. The other thing that Carrie sent that had that had you laughing was my misclassification of this Australian animal. I got the koala and the kangaroo. Those didn't stump me. I got those. But this I thought was a hedgehog. This is not a hedgehog. This is a very common Australian animal, which I had never heard about, but now I'm so thrilled that this came out, because what a cute animal. It's so cute. This is called an Echidna. Echidna. And it's spelled E-C-H-I-D-N-A. And it's pronounced Echidna. I'm pretty sure I've got that right. And I'm going to read you, so you have to go and Google what these little guys really look like, because they are adorable. They are so cute. And I'm going to read you one of the comments that was left for me by Ferial from Australia, because it just, it was such a sweet comment and just so fun. Okay, so Ferial says, oh, I had a good giggle over the ornaments. I find it hilarious that some of our unique animals are so well known, yet others aren't. That last ornament is an echidna, one of only 5 species of animal in the monotreme category. One is the platypus. I've heard of the platypus before. I mean, we've certainly watched enough Perry the Platypus in this house throughout both of my kids growing up, but I did know what a platypus was before that as well. But anyways, one is the platypus and the other 4 are different echidna species. Monotremes lay eggs, then nurse their young in the usual mammal way. Just another way that our good old Aussie animals make themselves weirdos of the animal world. Oh, it's so fun. It's so fun. So a totally brand new to me animal. I mean, I think that's just so wonderful. So this is not a hedgehog. This is an echidna. So now you're gonna have to go and look at what it looks like for real, because they are adorable. And one more reason why one day I must get over to that part of the world. So fun. Okay, so the next thing that I must share with you today, and I meant to share it yesterday, but I had so many other things to share that I wanted to make sure that I had this close to the beginning of the podcast, because it's so spectacular. Wait until you see this. Okay, so I'm gonna put in a screen cap here of a video that I did a few months back, at least a few months back, where I was showing off one of my oldest UFOs, which was a stocking, a Just Nan stocking. This was a project that I started years ago when Sarah was just a baby. So she is 19 and a half now. So it was a number of years back that I started this stocking, and I loved it. But then, and I'll even put a link to the video down below. That's probably a lot better way to handle this, because I tell the whole story about the stocking in that video and the whip. So, gorgeous bit of stitching that I'd done, but I just couldn't decide what to do with it. And I had an email from a viewer, Colette, who said, I absolutely love that chart. I know exactly who I want to stitch it for. When you're done, when you've, FFO'd it, or when you're finished working with the chart, may I purchase it from you, because I'd like to have that chart and make it myself. And I thought about it, and I thought, hey Colette, would you just like me to send you the whip, and you can just, you can finish the whip. I've already got it started for you, and there you go. You can have it if you'd like it, because I'm a bit of a weirdo in that I don't really like other people stitching on my on my stitching. I like to be the one who puts in every single stitch, but there are many other people out there, like Michelle Bendy comes to mind, who frequently has other people stitch. And for her, it's, I get it, I understand it, but I don't know if it's a quirk or a perfectionist thing or a little OCD thing. I just cannot have anyone else stitch on my, that was really hard for me when the kids were really little. The kids were really small and they wanted to help me stitch. It was really hard. I know that sounds very strange, but it was really hard. But with this stocking, it felt right. It just really felt right that I didn't really know what I wanted to do with it, but it needed to be a stocking. But I didn't really want it as the stocking for either of my kids, because it wasn't the right stocking for either of them. And Colette said yes, she agreed, and so I mailed it off to her. And last week, Colette sent me a picture of the finished stocking. And it is gorgeous. It's gorgeous, and it's fully finished. She has turned it into the most beautiful stocking, and she is sending it as a gift to a very special girl. And it's going to be enjoyed and loved for years to come. And I can't even tell you how much that thrills me to bits. So I'm going to include a photo right here of the finished stocking so that you can appreciate it as well. Isn't that just beautiful? Colette, you did such an amazing job. I'm thrilled to bits that it's been completed the way it really should have been done, and that it's just going to be loved by someone for years to come. That really pleases me. So thank you. As you can see, I have not worked on Josh's quilt yet today, and it is 20 to 2 p.m. in the afternoon. I've had a very busy morning. I've been working on a few different fabrics for the shop. I have 2 different fabrics that I'm going to be putting in next week, plus a couple of other odds and bits and bobs of fabrics that I have very little of, but I might put the bags together and put them in the shop. But I'll talk about that next week. But that's what I was doing this morning, getting sorted out. And so I haven't worked on Josh's quilt yet. So after I get this video going, I'd like to try and at least get 2 of the strips added on to the main quilt top. So I have to cut and prepare the sashing, and then it should be fairly quick job to get 2 more strips added on. My father-in-law is coming for dinner this evening, so I need to make sure that I'm completed my work day by about 5:30, 6 o'clock tonight, so that we can spend some time as a family tonight. So you're all so kind about my father-in-law, and you always ask about him and after him. So I thank you for those of you who are really just here for the stitching, for allowing me a little bit of extra time in my videos here to chat about personal stuff. If you're only here for the stitching, I suspect that you left long ago, because if the last 3 videos haven't made it completely clear, I am, if nothing but a chatterbox, and I do talk a lot. So if you're here for the company, then I think we're a good fit. If you're just here to see stitching, you're probably not still here. Anyway, my stitching is coming. Excuse me. So my father-in-law, right? I was done talking about the quilt. Now I'm talking about my father-in-law. From Monday to Wednesday, he sort of he takes care of himself, dinner-wise. Not that he can't take care of himself. He is still fully capable. He has his own apartment. And Monday to Wednesday, basically what I mean is that he feeds himself, because my mother-in-law was a phenomenal cook and baker, and she cooked and baked every day, all of their food, all of their meals, and she was very, very, very good at what she did. And my father-in-law, he is a retired GP, a retired doctor, and so he worked quite a lot, and so he never really cooked at all, like ever, because he didn't need to. My mother-in-law, you know, prepared all of the meals and was very, very capable. There are many things that she made that I miss dearly to this day. Just humor me for a moment, because it's a bit of a special memory. I know you're celebrating Thanksgiving. One of the memories that I have of special meals for us when my mother-in-law was here was a ham pie that she would make. And it was sort of, if you're French Canadian, you'll be very familiar with a tourtière, which is a meat pie. I think it's pork. Pork is the main ingredient in tourtière, if I'm not mistaken. It's a pork and beef mixture. Ham pie uses, it's kind of like a tourtière. It's in a shelled pie. My mother-in-law used to make her own puff pastry from scratch, and it was just, it had Gruyere and mushroom and you know, ham, and it was just the most beautiful pastry, the most beautiful meal. And we would have it with a little bit of hot mustard on the side, and that was always a special occasion meal. And so when holidays come around, you know, it's very, she is always missed, but you miss those events and happenings. And I know that there are many of you out there in the world today, visiting with me today, who are having the exact same feelings, where we are missing certain things, memories of people and things that we equate with happy times and happy memories. And so I have so many fond memories, and the ham pie, I do miss the ham pie. I think my sister-in-law, I know she has the recipe, but I don't know that she's ever actually made it herself. My sister-in-law lives in Italy. She married an Italian years and years and years ago. Very romantic story. She was doing some traveling for research for her degree for university, and she was in Italy, where she was studying this very specific type of mouse. And so she was in Italy where this type of mouse was found, and her now husband was their tour guide. I mean, that wasn't his job per se. It's the only way I can think of how to describe what he does. But he was sort of hired by the university to take them around the mountains, because he was very familiar with where they were living, the mountainous area, and the trails and the pathways and things like that. And so they met and they fell in love, and they've been in Italy ever since. So John's family is far flung, and so if you've heard me mention before in the past, in the summertime, when we have people come to visit us at the cottage, it's generally people from overseas, and they come and they stay with us for quite a while. How did I get onto this? I've really gone in a bit of a circle here. I was talking about the quilt, and then I was talking about my father-in-law, but now I've told you about my sister-in-law instead. Remember what I said about being a chatterbox? Here we go. Okay, so my father-in-law was never a good cook. See, I got there in the end. He was never he didn't have a chance to be a good cook because he never cooked or baked, and he still has zero interest in doing any of it. It is now just a necessity kind of thing. So he is thrilled to bits that he comes and shares. He is part of our family meals and goings on from Thursday to Sunday. And then Monday to Wednesday, he sort of toodles off and does his own thing. And he eats very simple things and is quite happy doing so. And then from Thursday to Sunday, we spend a lot of time together. So that's just a little bit of inside information there. All right, I am going to start with my stitching. I've only got my sock to show you today for knitting, so I'll save that because I have a little story there with my sock knitting. I'm going to start with one that you haven't seen in a little while. This is just the most beautiful pattern. This is one of the Historische Stickmuster patterns that I'm working on. This was designed by Dorothy Kanzi, and this pattern, I tell you. Okay, so the English translation of this chart is called The Colors of Venice. And you can find this chart on the Silk Stitching app, which is available for iOS. If you don't have an iOS device, iPad, I believe that they're working towards that, but for the moment it's just iOS devices. However, if you love the chart, you can buy the physical copies of these charts directly from their shop, which is in Hamm, Germany. And so there is, I'm putting the contact info right up on the screen right now. I'll put it up nice and close, so if you really want to know, you can just hit the pause button and that should take you there. I think Dorothy's got her email address there. And if you just type in Historische Stickmuster into your search box online, the shop will pop up. Now it is in German. The shop site is in German, but there's a very easy, Google Translate. If you look right in the search bar on the far right, there should be a little translate button there. And if you click that, it should give you the option to translate the whole site into English, and it works beautifully. It translates everything pretty perfectly. And it's just so many beautiful things. I'm starting something from there on January 1st. I'm starting two things on January 1st, two big things. And one of them is from Historische Stickmuster. And I'm so excited. It's gonna be good. Okay, but I wasn't talking about that. I was talking about this, The Colors of Venice. And many of you will remember I started in the bottom left corner, as is my usual. And I am almost fully completed this box. So I just took a little video to show you where I'm at. I was really hoping to have it finished by today to show you, but I just ran out of time. I just didn't have enough minutes in my evening last night to get it finished. It's so beautiful. Now I think this cover page, like most photos, you have to take it with a grain of salt, because this gorgeous blue background that's surrounding the photograph, I think it gives you a different feel of this piece, whereas what I'm stitching, all you can see is this corner on a beautiful sea of white linen. I'm stitching it on a 40 count linen, beautiful quality linen, with the called for Oversoie silk threads, and it is it's a luxurious project. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's absolute luxury, and I am loving it. So I have decided that I'm actually, instead of going to the right, instead of going to this block, I'm going to hop up one block to this block here next. So this is going to be the block that I stitch next, because I am dying to add that navy into the chart. So I'm going to stitch this one, and then I'm going to come down here and do this one. And then I think that's really going to give, and then I'll, you know, I'll do the 4 there. Oh, it's just so gorgeous. I love it. Okay, so I'm going to pop that little video that I took of my progress. I'm going to put that in right here. So the lighting is terrible today. It's extremely gray and dark up here in my room. This is where I keep my floor frame, which has got my project on it. This is, I probably will have introduced this before you see this video. So you'll remember that this is my Historische Stickmuster Colors of Venice. And I'm almost completed the first block. So that's all I have left to do. Just fill in to the top of the block. That's it. I just ran out of time. I made coffee in my Luna mug today to remind me to tell you something about, I have been telling you all about my Luna mug. This was a gift from Ellen of Maximum Cross Stitch Power Hour. And she had her friends make this mug for me. John Valentine Potter and his amazing partner, artist partner, Charlie Waters. They are a phenomenal collaboration team. And so Charlie does the art, and then John is the potter, and so together they just make a phenomenal team. I started talking, I've mentioned this mug before, and I know there have been several of you who have contacted them and now have mugs of your own, and I've seen a couple of pictures, and in fact I have another picture to share with you, but I'm not quite ready to do it today because I wanted to email back the person first to make sure that it was okay to share, because I'm not sure that I'm not sure that it's said in the email. So anyways, what I wanted to tell you was they are now full for Christmas orders. So they, it's just the 2 of them, and they hand make these themselves. These are works of art, and they now have enough orders. They are full, and they can, I'm not sure they can actually fit in any more orders so that people will have them by Christmas time. I'm not 100% sure, so if you were desperate to have one, please do contact them, because I would hate to misspeak, and they can actually possibly fit you in. I just wanted to prepare you that you might not be able to get one for Christmas at this point, because so many of you contacted them, that first of all, you've helped a small business through a global pandemic, COVID, Christmas, and you know, that's I just think that that's wonderful. I'm so thrilled that so many of you were wanting a special mug of your own. So first of all, that is just phenomenal. Second of all, if you weren't able to get one for Christmas, I hope that you will still you know, possibly consider getting one for yourself in the new year, perhaps for a birthday or a special treat, just because they're phenomenal. But I wanted to make sure, because I know people don't watch the video every day, and if you're catching a video from a couple of days ago and I'm saying, hey, you should order these for Christmas, and you're only seeing it today, and then you're disappointed, and I feel bad. So I'm trying to tell you so that you're prepared for the possibility that by now you might not get them in time for Christmas. However, keep trying, because they're really worth it. Okay, so I told you about my Colors of Venice, which I'm so excited to get that block done. It's like a mini finish, it really is, and I'm ready for a little new mini start, so that will be fun. Okay, my Jeanette Douglas Blooming Bouquet number 4. This is a piece that I'm doing as a stitch along. I'm going to insert a photo of the completed piece right here. And here's my progress. So I think I've put 3 or 4 more lengths of floss into the vase since the last time I shared it with you. It is so pretty. It's just so pretty. So beautiful. And I remember I was talking about this variegated thread. So if I angle it this way, I want it to catch the light a certain way. I think you can see that thread. What color is that? Let me double check. I was going to tell you about the threads. So I brought my little chart here. Okay, so the vase is, just read my symbol. It's a Silk and Colors by the Thread Gatherer. I had never used these threads before. So there's 4 different silks from the Thread Gatherer in this design. And again, like I said, this came as a kit. Everything was kitted up. So all of the silk was already, you're not getting a lot of extra silk in, you know, a whole bunch of extra skeins. You're just getting what you need to stitch the design. So they come in 2 bundles. Think about the way that Dimensions. Think about the way Dimensions used to do their kits years and years ago, where you would get a whole bunch of floss in one set, and then there might be a whole bunch of floss in another set, and then you sort of had to figure out your own colors. This is this is actually quite a bit easier than that, because first of all, there's far fewer colors, but it comes in 2 sets, so skein 1 and skein 2. And then a very good description of exactly which color is where. And they've divided it up really well so that, you know, the pinks and magentas that are different from the other pinks and magentas, because the flowers, these flowers alternate. So every other flower is the same. So these 2 are the same and these 2 are the same. And each skein that came in the kit has divided them up, because a couple of those colors are similar. They're similar, and I can see that if you had it all together as one, you might get them mixed up. However, they have divided them up. So what I did was I put them on card floss tags that I just punched out myself, and then I cut the length. They're approximately 18 inches of length, and then I just used my needle to remove 1 strand at a time from the back of the little knot part here to stitch, and the rest of it stays on the floss tag. Okay, so the Thread Gatherer, it is called Mississippi Mud. It's number 173, Mississippi Mud. So that's the color of this variegated vase here, Mississippi Mud. Oh, it's so pretty, so pretty. I am just really enjoying this project, and I'm trying to 2 things, because I think you've noticed that when I get into something, I tend to go all at it for a couple of weeks, and then I'll leave it for an indeterminate amount of time. But I don't want this project to languish. It's a stitch along. I'd like to, you know, make sure that it gets done. But when I start working on it, I get that feeling of, oh, I never want to put this down ever. But I want to finish it, and I'd like it to last. So I'm trying to just put 1 or 2 skeins in a day, and it's working. It's working. I'm thrilled with it. I'm so enjoying it. And it's going to be so pretty when it's done. Okay, savon. I've mentioned before that I have, oh, John's at the grocery store and he's just wondering if we have anything. Pardon me for a moment. Okay, so with my last stitching project to share today is savon. I've mentioned before that I'm doing a 24-hour rotation. I'm trying to do a 24-hour rotation on my big projects, where I set my timer on a countdown function, and anytime I'm stitching on that project, I let the timer go, and when even if I get up and take a break, I stop the timer, so that it is actually 24 hours of real life, like in real life stitching time on the project. And so I am at, what am I at? 15 hours. This is what I have left on my timer. 15 hours, 7. So I'm sure you could see that even though it was a little bit blurry. 15 hours, 7 minutes, and 47 seconds is what I have left on my timer. And whoops, here's my progress. Ta-da! It is growing. It's growing for sure. So I think that tonight I would love to finish this little bit of fill in here and here. Fill in around this little guy there. I've started this motif that's right here. That rust color, I have to finish filling in this motif that's at the bottom. I think you can see it. So yeah, it's coming. Love that piece. I know, I say that every time, but I do. Last but not least for today is my sock. And I haven't shown you in a while, but I had this bag. I made these bags quite a while ago, I think in the spring. This was a Tula pink fabric that I had. I don't have any more of this fabric, it's gone, but I was so in love with this print that I have so many bags of my own, because I have all the seconds, or if I make a mistake on a bag, well, that's my bag. So this was a real treat where I made myself a first. You know, you have firsts and you have seconds when you buy fruit. I made myself a first. So this is the Tula pink fabric that I had in a bright pink bottom and a side strap. So this is the wedge tote style. And I do use these for cross stitch projects, but I more often use them for knitting. And so you'll remember my Fruity Pebble sock yarn. Well, it was an absolute perfect match for this bag. And that's really one of the reasons why I knew I needed this bag. So here's my second sock. So just a reminder, if you're new here, I do actually have the first sock completed. It has a gray heel and toe. I was asked, oh, why didn't you do a gray cuff? Because I think the person that asked me was remembering, she thought I had done cuff, heel, and toe in the gray, but I didn't. My cuff is the Fruity Pebble yarn. Let's see if I can get that to focus on the color. Look at that. Look at those colors. They're so fun. It looks really green there. Much more green than it really is. It's so funny, the camera, how it picks up colors. Okay, so the first sock is done. And the second sock, I've actually got a fair bit of progress. Look at that. That's a lot of progress actually, since I only work on it pretty sporadically when I have a few minutes here or there waiting for dinner, chatting on the phone, things like that. So it's really coming along. So funny story about this. This really is quite amusing to me. Oh, this is a Leo and Roxy yarn. August 2019, Sock of the Month Club. I apologize for those of you who are totally sick to death of hearing me say that, but there you go anyway, because if I don't say it, I'll feel bad if someone asks that I didn't say it. So I was knitting this last night. We were watching television. We were watching Escape to the Country, which if you're Canadian, there's an app put out by CBC called CBC Gem, and if you're Canadian, it's free. You just need to log in with a valid Canadian email address and VPN address and so on and so forth. And all of the televised programs on there are free for Canadian viewing. So there's actually a lot of really good stuff on there. And one of the shows on there is the British Escape to the Country and Escape to the, what's the other one? I don't remember. But anyways, it's kind of, John and I, it's kind of a running joke. We watch this show when we're a little bit tired and we just want to listen to a British accent and, you know, look at people looking at these beautiful rural places in England that are just, oh, the countryside is so gorgeous there. John's mum was born in Somerset, and so he's been there a number of times, and it's just, the countryside is just so gorgeous, the rolling green hills. And so yesterday I talked about Australia, and today I'm talking about England. And there's just there are so many beautiful places in the world. One day we will travel again, one day. So we like to travel on our TV screen, and so we will listen to Escape to the Country. So we were watching this last night, and I kid you not, he looks over and he says, "Oh, what are you knitting?" I have literally shown him this sock at least 5 or 6 times. Look at my sock, look what I did, look at my sock. At least 5 or 6 times. "Oh, what are you knitting?" So I said, "I'm working on a sock." And he says, "Oh, haven't you already knit yourself a pair of socks?" Blink, blink. "Why, yes, dear, I have knit myself several pairs of socks." He says, oh, you should knit me something." He said, and I said, "But you don't like socks." He says, "No, but you could knit me a scarf. I really like that scarf that you knit me that one time. So, and the sweater, that sweater that you knit me that time, I really liked that too. And if you've been on this channel journey with me for a long time, you will know the sweater story. And I'll tell, if you don't remember the sweater story, I'll tell it another time because it's quite funny. The Coles Notes version of that story is that it took me 11 years to knit him a sweater. But it's a beautiful sweater. However, he will not be getting another sweater anytime soon, but a scarf, I think I could do a scarf. He doesn't like hand knit socks. He would never wear them. He just doesn't. Well, he has a pair and he does wear them, but he doesn't want me to knit him another pair of socks. So scarf it is. But yeah, what are you knitting? What am I knitting? I don't know. What am I knitting? Anyways, I thought it was quite funny. Okay, I think that's it for me today. I will be back to, remember I said yesterday that today was going to have to be a short episode? It's not. There's no way this is a short episode. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. I hope that if you were feeling a little bit missing relatives and family today, I hope I was a little bit of company for you today. And you were certainly company for me. So thank you for that. I will be back tomorrow. I do have some giveaways to sort out. Just a couple, I think. Couple that I have to look into. So you may see a chart that I offered for giveaway before. If you haven't received it, maybe watch tomorrow, because I think I have 2 charts where I can't figure out if I actually pulled the winner for them or not yet. So this is going back a few months, and I had notes on them. Like I put little pieces of paper with the names on. If I did pull it, they would have had a little piece of paper on, but because I moved back from the cottage, I don't know what happened. So I have to do a little bit of detective work tomorrow. So that is tomorrow's job. Okay, so that is it for me today. I will be back tomorrow. And until then, I hope that you're well. I hope you're safe. I hope that you have some crafting time to enjoy tonight, this evening. And I'll see you back here tomorrow. Take care, everybody. Have a great night. Happy Thanksgiving and happy stitching.